So I'm a master's violin student here at Baylor, and it's a 2-year program where it focuses on violin performance. So one of our main requirements is we have to perform 2 full master's recitals within the 2 years that our program lasts for. And I just performed my final recital, and I was able to perform with my mom, who's a pianist, which is an incredible experience. So she performed with me on 2 out of the 3 of my pieces on my recital, the first and the last piece, which were multiple movement sonatas. And the middle piece was an unaccompanied piece for just solo violin by a composer named Isai, which is an interesting name. But this piece is incredibly difficult technically for the violin. It's probably the hardest piece I've ever learned. Yeah. But it's an exhausting piece to play, and it's only about 8 minutes long, so it's not very long. It's incredibly technically demanding. It uses all aspects of the violin as far as technique goes. So like just doing everything that's possible for the violin, basically, or most things at least. And Isai, the composer, was an incredible violinist. Like, he was a known amazing violinist. So he knew what he was writing was very hard. So he intentionally wrote it that way, to use all aspects of the violin. So I think it's pretty interesting. The actual experience of it was, I just remember just focusing on like the music obviously really intensely, and like I wasn't thinking about anything else. And apparently the lights were flickering during the entire concert, which I didn't realize at all. I guess that just means I was pretty like focused, which is good. And I just didn't notice anything. But I just remember like really zoning in on that piece and just like thinking, okay, what's the next part? I'm just kind of getting through it, But I also, the great part of it is I loved every piece I played on that recital. Like, I loved every single piece. So even though it was incredibly hard, that middle piece, and I was terrified, I still loved it. So it made it better. It made it a little easier to play. The third piece, that was the last piece of my program, was the third Brahms Sonata, and it has a huge piano part as well. And so it's just this beautiful piece, and I'm absolutely in love with it, and I always have been, and I've always wanted to play it. So I was incredibly excited to play it with my mom. She's a concert pianist, so she's an incredible musician that I like look up to, and hope to be able to perform like she does one day. So she inspires me musically when we play together. It's incredibly easy to play with her, first of all, because she's so musical and because she's so good, and it's a breeze, it's just incredibly easy. And it's also inspires me to be more musical as well. So it's a really cool experience, a really cool bonding experience too. So we have a lot of fun because, again, she's just incredibly the most musical player I've ever heard play. And so I knew it would be such a joy to play with her, and I was right. It was so much fun. It was also, of course, it's always going to be stressful in a recital, but at that point I had gotten through my Isai, and I had gotten through Beethoven, which is exposed and it's kind of scary as well, and I knew the Brahms, I could be, I really loved it, and I knew it was going to be musical and hopefully sound the way I wanted it to sound. And I really enjoyed just honestly all the movements in that piece to play with her. It was just, we both got really into it, and especially the last movement, we clicked in all the movements, and it was really like satisfying. It was really enjoyable. We were both very like, it's like you have this like feeling inside, like when you get in the zone, you're like really passionate about what you're playing, and you just like, it kind of just like happens, and you like kind of let out all of your, emotions into whatever you're playing, and it's a really unique experience, and it's really cool to do that with your mom. So